What if the tea you drink every morning was quietly making you sick? Today, Golden Menu is uncovering the truth. Independent testing found more than 22 pesticide residues in a single tea bag. Probable carcinogens were detected in detox teas, bedtime teas, and even chamomile tea that many parents serve to their children. One company quietly recalled nearly 900,000 tea bags from store shelves, yet almost nobody knew it happened. Today, we are exposing 10 tea brands that deserve a closer look. And before this video ends, we will also reveal 5 brands that stood out as safer choices based on their testing, sourcing, and tea bag materials. Make sure you stay until the end, because the most surprising brand on this list is one that millions of people trust every single day. Let us begin. Number 10. Tetley. Most people never have a strong opinion about Tetley. That is exactly why it ended up on this list. It is the familiar British tea brand that sits on supermarket shelves at an affordable price. It does what people expect, then quietly disappears into the kitchen cabinet. There is no wellness message, no impressive story about where the tea comes from, and no memorable mascot on the box. It is simply tea, and for many families, that was enough reason to trust it without asking any questions. Ironically, that lack of attention became part of the problem. Tetley is owned by Tata Consumer Products, one of the largest consumer goods companies in India. The company sells tea, coffee, bottled water, and packaged foods in markets around the world. Independent testing has identified multiple pesticide residues in Tetley tea products. There is no comprehensive, publicly available third-party pesticide testing program. There is no independent verification showing residue testing beyond the minimum regulatory requirements. And if consumers want to know exactly where the tea leaves were grown, that information simply is not available. However, pesticides are only one part of the concern. Standard Tetley paper tea bags are made using epichlorohydrin, a chemical added during manufacturing to strengthen the paper so it does not fall apart in hot water. The United States Environmental Protection Agency classifies epichlorohydrin as a probable human carcinogen. When exposed to hot water, it can break down into another compound that has caused cancer in laboratory animal studies. You will not find this information printed on the package. Companies are not legally required to disclose it. That means while your tea is steeping, the same material holding the tea bag together may also be entering your cup. Yet nothing on the box tells you that. The brand that almost nobody questioned also became the brand that almost nobody held accountable. In this category, being ordinary does not always mean being safe. Number 9. Harney and Sons. The elegant tin. The sophisticated blend names. Paris. Hot cinnamon spice. English breakfast. Everything about Harney and Sons gives the impression that you have moved beyond ordinary grocery store tea and into something selected with care. People often buy it as a gift. Others choose it for themselves because the brand feels refined and premium. Harney and Sons was founded in Millerton, New York in 1983 by John Harney. The family history is real. The commitment to producing quality tea has always been an important part of the company identity. For decades, tea lovers trusted the brand because everything about it suggested that experienced people were paying close attention to where the tea was sourced. But the attractive tin does not tell the whole story. Independent testing has found pesticide residues in Harney and Sons tea products that do not match the premium image. Suggest that some of the tea comes from large commodity supply chains that may not receive the level of screening many customers expect from a product at this price. The standard Harney and Sons paper tea bag also contains epichlorohydrin. It is the very same probable human carcinogen already discussed with Tetley. Even though this tea often sells for several times the price of budget brands, there is still no disclosure about that chemical anywhere on the packaging. That is not what most people believe they are paying for. A premium tin. A premium price. But the same paper tea bag chemistry found in far less expensive brands. The outside looks different. The material inside the tea bag does not. For anyone who prefers simple answers instead of spending hours researching every product, Golden Menu has created a grocery and household guide covering hundreds of everyday brands across dozens of categories. You can find more information through the link in the description. Number 8. Stash Tea. Stash Tea began in Portland in 1972, during a time when the natural foods movement was rapidly growing across the West Coast. From the very beginning, the company positioned itself as a better alternative to traditional brands like Lipton and Tetley. The mission was clear. Tea could be sourced more responsibly, processed with greater care, and offered with higher standards than the mass-market products many health-conscious consumers were already moving away from. For many years, that message carried real credibility throughout the Pacific Northwest. People chose Stash because they believed its origins represented something meaningful. It was more than clever branding. It reflected values that customers genuinely appreciated. Today, Stash Tea is owned by Yamamoto Yama, a Japanese tea company founded in 1789 that operates global sourcing and distribution across international markets. That ownership is not prominently featured in the company marketing aimed at American consumers. The Portland origin story remains on the package. The multinational ownership behind the brand does not. Independent testing has found pesticide residues in Stash Tea products. The same concern about epichlorohydrin also applies to the standard Stash paper tea bags. When a company built on careful sourcing becomes part of a corporation operating on a much larger commodity scale, testing results often reflect that transition, even when the packaging continues telling the original story. Many people who chose Stash decades ago because they believed it was the cleaner alternative to Lipton are now drinking tea from a bag made with the same paper chemistry. The founding story never disappeared. The sourcing behind that story changed. The box simply never told customers that. Number 7. Twinings. More than 3 centuries of history, Twinings has been serving tea since 1706. It has held royal warrants from the British monarchy and continues to operate its original shop on Bond Street in London, a store that has been open longer than the United States has existed. When people reach for a box of Twinings, they naturally associate it with generations of experience, tradition, and craftsmanship. That history creates the impression that the tea inside has been produced with the same level of care as the name on the package. But there is another side of the story that the box never mentions. Twinings is owned by Associated British Foods, a publicly traded multinational corporation whose portfolio includes Ovaltine, the Primark clothing chain, and large commodity sugar businesses operating across several continents. Behind more than 300 years of heritage is a modern corporation that depends on global commodity sourcing. Independent testing has found pesticide residues in Twinings products sold in the American market. There is no publicly available independent pesticide verification program that goes beyond normal regulatory requirements. The standard Twinings paper tea bags also contain epichlorohydrin, the same probable human carcinogen already found in Tetley, Harney and Sons, and Stash Tea. That information is not disclosed anywhere on the packaging. Many people, especially older adults, choose Twinings English breakfast every morning because they believe its long history represents a higher level of quality and safety. That assumption is understandable. Unfortunately, the independent testing does not support it. 300 years of history cannot change what laboratory testing reveals today. The tea inside the bag does not become cleaner simply because the company has existed for centuries. Number 6. Allegro Tea. This is the house tea brand sold by Whole Foods. It sits in the premium organic section, where many health-conscious shoppers automatically assume the products have gone through stricter standards than ordinary grocery store brands. Some Allegro products carry organic certification. The Whole Foods reputation fills in the rest. And that is where the problem begins. Most people never research Allegro Tea before placing it into their shopping cart. They trust the store. The store itself becomes the proof of quality, allowing the product to benefit from that reputation without having to provide additional evidence. There is no comprehensive publicly available third-party pesticide testing program covering the entire Allegro Tea product line beyond the basic requirements of organic certification. Organic certification focuses on what is applied while the tea is grown. It does not address possible cross-contamination during processing. It also does not evaluate the material used to make the paper tea bag. That means it says nothing about epichlorohydrin, because the certification was never designed to test bag chemistry. Many shoppers pay a premium price believing they are receiving a higher level of verification. In reality, the documentation available to the public does not go beyond what the organic certification itself already requires. The added cost reflects the reputation of the retailer more than additional published safety documentation. Whole Foods earned the trust of its customers. Allegro Tea benefits from that trust, but the safety documentation available for the product does not extend beyond the certification standards that are already required. Number 5. Tazo Tea. The packaging looks carefully designed. The blend names sound unique and intentional, giving the impression that every ingredient was selected for a reason. Tazo built its reputation by making tea feel more refined, more curated, and worth spending a little extra money on. Whether someone picked up a box at the grocery store or ordered a cup at Starbucks, choosing Tazo often felt like making a smarter choice than buying the familiar yellow box sitting on the next shelf. But there is one fact that completely changes that perception. Tazo began as an independent company in Portland in 1994. Starbucks purchased the brand not long afterward. Then, in 2017, Starbucks sold Tazo to Unilever for $384 million. That is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Unilever is also the company that owns Lipton. Take a moment to think about that. The premium alternative to the yellow box is now owned by the very same corporation behind the yellow box. The premium image still comes from the original Tazo story. The sourcing infrastructure now comes from the same multinational company that supplies Lipton. Independent testing has found pesticide residues in Tazo tea products. The upscale packaging does not come with a more rigorous publicly available pesticide testing operate under the same sourcing standards. The difference in price is not necessarily a difference in sourcing quality. Much of that difference comes from the value attached to the brand itself. The same parent company, the same supply chain, different packaging, a much higher price. That is very different from what most shoppers believe they are paying for. If this investigation has helped you see tea labels from a different perspective, take a moment to like this video. It helps Golden Menu reach more people who deserve to know what is really inside the products they bring home. Number 4. Lipton. There is no wellness story, no premium origin, no polished brand image designed to make it feel exclusive. Lipton has simply become the tea that generations of American families grew up with. For more than 100 years, people have been making Lipton iced tea without ever stopping to read the label, because tea was never considered the kind of product that needed one. Now, that assumption deserves another look. Lipton is owned by Unilever. Independent testing has found multiple pesticide residues in Lipton tea samples, including bifenthrin, a synthetic insecticide widely used in agriculture. The United States Environmental Protection Agency classifies bifenthrin as a possible human carcinogen. Testing has detected this chemical in tea leaves sourced through large commodity supply chains. However, the concern is not limited to the tea leaves. The tea bag itself raises another issue. Most standard Lipton paper tea bags are manufactured with epichlorohydrin, the same chemical already identified in Tetley, Harney and Sons, Stash Tea, Twinings, and Tazo. This compound is added during production to strengthen the paper so it does not break apart while steeping in hot water. The Environmental Protection Agency classifies epichlorohydrin as a probable human carcinogen. When it comes into contact with hot water, it can break down into another compound that has caused cancer in laboratory animal studies. None of this information appears anywhere on the packaging. Companies are not legally required to disclose it. So while your tea is brewing, the same material holding the bag together may also be releasing that compound into your cup. Now think about someone who drinks 3 cups of Lipton every day. That is completely normal in many American households. Imagine repeating that habit for 20 years. Pesticide residues from the tea leaves. Epichlorohydrin from the tea bag. Cup after cup, day after day. That is not a rare situation. It is an everyday routine followed by millions of people. Lipton has always been a familiar part of family kitchens. The question is whether it has ever fully explained what could be inside every single cup. Number 3. Yogi Tea. Every box of Yogi Tea promises a specific health benefit: detox, bedtime, immune support, green tea kombucha, kava stress relief. Each blend is named after the result people hope to achieve. The Ayurvedic tradition featured on the packaging gives those promises an added sense of credibility. People who choose Yogi Tea are not simply buying a beverage. They are choosing what they believe is a product designed to support a particular health goal. They read the label, find the benefit they need, and trust that the ingredients inside will deliver exactly what the package promises. In 2014, Consumer Reports tested several Yogi Tea products. The testing found pesticide residues across multiple varieties, including propaclar and acetamiprid. The United States Environmental Protection Agency classifies propaclar as a probable human carcinogen. Acetamiprid is a neonicotinoid insecticide that has been linked in research to concerns involving the developing nervous system. Both chemicals were detected in teas that were actively marketed as health contained pesticide residues. Tea marketed to support the immune system also contained compounds that independent testing identified as potential health concerns. Then another major issue emerged. In March 2024, the parent company behind Yogi Tea recalled 54,846 boxes, nearly 878,000 individual tea bags of organic Echinacea immune support tea from stores across the United States. According to the Food and Drug Administration enforcement report, the reason was straightforward. Pesticide residues exceeded the agency action levels. Those action levels represent the point where the Food and Drug Administration determines that the amount detected is no longer considered acceptable. That threshold was exceeded in a product labeled organic and sold specifically to support the immune system. There was no major public announcement. Most people only learned about the recall by searching the Food and Drug Administration database. The company did not widely publicize it. When someone buys a tea marketed for detox, and laboratory testing identifies a probable carcinogen inside, it raises a serious question. That is no longer a minor labeling issue. It challenges the very promise the product was built to make. Number 2. Celestial Seasonings. The sleepy bear on the box. The peaceful chamomile fields. The mountain meadow illustrations. For decades, Celestial Seasonings sold more than tea. It sold the feeling that what was inside the box was completely different from the product sitting beside it on the grocery shelf. Since 1969, the brand has built its reputation around natural ingredients and a healthier way to enjoy tea. Parents brewed chamomile for children with upset stomachs. Older adults reached for sleepy time before bed. Health-conscious shoppers chose Celestial Seasonings because they believed it was a cleaner alternative to conventional brands. People did not just buy the product, they trusted it. That is why What Happened Next caught so many people by surprise. In 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed against Celestial Seasonings. Independent testing connected to that lawsuit found pesticide residues in several of the company products, including propaclar. The United States Environmental Protection Agency classifies propaclar as a probable human carcinogen. The chemical was detected in teas promoted for sleep, relaxation, and immune support. There is another piece of the story that many shoppers never hear. Celestial Seasonings is owned by Hain Celestial Group, a publicly traded corporation that manages more than 30 natural and organic food brands. At that scale, organic certification becomes part of a corporate compliance system. It is no longer the same as a company carefully overseeing every ingredient that ends up in your cup. The peaceful mountain scene on the package is an illustration. The pesticide residues identified in laboratory testing are documented findings. Both realities exist at the same time. Parents preparing sleepy time tea for their children deserve to know both sides of that story. The wellness message is still printed on every box. The lawsuit is part of the public record. If you have stayed with Golden Menu this far, you are probably someone who cares about what comes into your home. The next section is where things become much more encouraging. Instead of talking about brands that raised concerns, We are going to look at 5 tea brands that performed well for their sourcing, testing, and tea bag materials. Number 1. Walmart Great Value Tea. No organic certification, no publicly available pesticide testing, no sourcing transparency beyond the minimum legal requirements for selling food in the United States, and paper tea bags made with epichlorohydrin, along with whatever pesticide residue profile came from the commodity tea supply chain that supplied the leaves. There is no published information explaining where the tea was grown, no details about farming practices, no information about which pesticide programs were used by the growers. None of it is publicly documented. None of it is independently verifiable by shoppers who simply want to know what they are putting into their cup. The families buying Great Value Tea are not making a careless decision. For many people, the budget comes first. When grocery prices continue to rise, choosing the least expensive option is a completely reasonable decision. That is exactly why this brand ranks at the top of the list. The epichlorohydrin used in these tea bags is the very same compound found in Lipton, Twinings, Tazo, and Harney and Sons. It does not become safer because the box costs less. It does not become more dangerous because another brand charges a premium. The chemical is the same. The pesticide residues absorbed by the tea plant are also the same, regardless of which retailer eventually sells the finished product. That is the larger pattern this entire investigation has been pointing toward. 10 brands. Every price range. Every heritage story. Every wellness promise. Every organic claim. Yet the same concerns continue to appear again and again. Pesticide residues in the tea leaves. Epichlorohydrin in the paper tea bag. And no legal requirement for companies to tell consumers about either one. Take a look inside your pantry today. Pull out every box of tea you own. Search the brand name together with the words pesticide testing. Then try to find any mention of epichlorohydrin on the package. You almost certainly will not. Not because it is absent, but because companies are not required to disclose it. That missing information is what makes this issue so important. Now let us move on to the part that can actually help you make a better choice. Here are 5 tea brands that stood out for clean tea bag materials, published testing, and sourcing practices that matched the promises printed on their packaging. Best option number 5. Pukka Herbs. Pukka Herbs was founded in Bristol, England, in 2001 by Sebastian Pohl, an Ayurvedic practitioner, together with Tim Westwell. From the beginning, the mission was very clear. Medicinal herbs and tea should be sourced in a way that can be traced back to the farm and verified through actual residue testing, not simply supported by a certification logo. The company wanted every claim to be backed by real documentation, not assumptions, not marketing. Certified organic. Fair trade certified. The tea bags are completely free of plastic and do not contain epichlorohydrin. That was not a recent change made in response to public criticism. Pukka chose different tea bag materials long before epichlorohydrin became a widely discussed issue. The company also publishes third-party pesticide testing that anyone can review. Its sourcing is documented down to the farm level for the primary ingredients used in each blend. That creates a major difference from brands that make similar wellness claims without providing the same level of evidence. The promise printed on the front of the box is supported by documentation that customers can actually verify. Pukka Herbs is available at Whole Foods, Sprouts, and online throughout the United States. It represents the kind of transparency many shoppers expected from premium wellness tea brands in the first place. Best option number 4. Traditional Medicinals. Traditional Medicinals was founded in Sebastopol, California in 1974. For more than 50 years, the company has remained independent in the medicinal herbal tea industry without being acquired by a larger corporation. The main reason that the company has been able to maintain its original sourcing standards instead of replacing them with a large volume purchasing model. Many brands begin with strong values. As they grow, those values often change. Traditional Medicinals has managed to keep its original approach intact. The products are certified organic. Many of them are also verified by the Non-GMO Project and carry fair trade certification where applicable. The company works directly with certified organic growers, and those supplier relationships are publicly documented and traceable. That level of transparency goes beyond what many competing brands have made available through independent verification. The tea bags do not contain epichlorohydrin. Just as importantly, the detox teas from traditional medicinals were not found to contain the probable carcinogens identified in some competing products. That is the difference between making a wellness claim and supporting it with sourcing practices that can withstand careful examination. Traditional medicinals is also one of the easiest clean tea brands to find. It is available at Target, Whole Foods, Kroger, and many major grocery stores throughout the United States. If you want the promises printed on the box to be supported by publicly available documentation, this brand offers one of the strongest examples. Best option number 3, Numi Organic Tea. Numi Organic Tea was founded in Oakland, California in 2000 by brother and sister Ahmed Rahim and Reem Rahim. From the very beginning, they built the company around one simple principle. Customers should be able to see exactly where their tea comes from, all the way from the farm to the cup. The goal was never to rely only on certification labels. Every important step in the supply chain was meant to be documented and transparent. The teas are certified organic and verified by the Non-GMO Project. The tea bags do not contain epichlorohydrin. The company also makes its third-party pesticide testing results publicly available. Many of the whole-leaf teas are sourced through direct trade partnerships with growers whose farms are identified and documented. Instead of asking customers to simply trust the brand, Numi provides information that allows people to verify where the tea originated. As the company expanded, the founding family continued to maintain control over its sourcing practices. That is one important difference between Numi and brands whose ownership and supply chains have changed over time. The original mission is still reflected in the way the company operates today. The documentation supports the story printed on the box. Numi Organic Tea is available at Whole Foods, Target, and many online retailers throughout the United States. Clean tea bags, transparent sourcing, published testing, and a company whose actions continue to match the values it has promoted since the beginning. Best option number 2, Rishi Tea and Botanicals. Rishi Tea and Botanicals was founded in Milwaukee in 1997. From the beginning, founder Joshua Kaiser built direct relationships with certified organic tea farms across Asia and Africa. For Rishi, direct trade is more than a marketing phrase. It means Joshua Kaiser, or members of the Rishi team, personally visited the farms, met directly with the growers, established long-term partnerships, and verified the farming standards before placing an order. The teas are certified organic. The direct trade model provides a level of farm-by-farm transparency that none of the brands on the avoid list have publicly documented. The specific farms, growing regions, and certifications covering many of Rishi products are available for anyone who wants to review them. The tea bags contain no epichlorohydrin. The company also provides access to third-party pesticide reflects the cost of maintaining direct trade relationships and a documented verification system. Customers are paying for transparency that can actually be confirmed. That creates a clear difference from premium brands that charge more without offering the same level of publicly available documentation. If you have been spending more money on premium tea believing it came with greater sourcing accountability, this is one of the few brands where that assumption is supported by evidence. Rishi Tea and Botanicals is available at Whole Foods, specialty retailers across the United States, and through online stores. For shoppers looking for premium tea backed by real documentation, Rishi stands out as one of the strongest choices available. Best option number 1, Clipper Teas. Clipper Teas was founded in Dorset, England in 1984. It was one of the earliest tea companies to embrace fair trade, even before fair trade became an officially recognized certification. From the very beginning, the founders challenged the idea that clean sourcing and responsibly produced tea should only be available to people willing to pay premium prices. Their belief was simple. High-quality tea made with ethical ingredients should be the standard, not the exception. Clipper Teas is certified organic. It is fair trade certified. Its tea bags are unbleached and completely free of epichlorohydrin. The same probable human carcinogen found in many brands on our avoid list is not present here. Unlike many premium brands, Clipper does not rely on expensive packaging or a long history to justify a higher price. There are no luxury tins. No marketing built around centuries of tradition, just certified organic tea, responsibly sourced ingredients, and tea bags made without unnecessary chemical treatments. Most importantly, it is offered at a price that remains affordable for everyday families. For anyone who is surprised to learn that budget brands and premium brands often shared the same underlying problems, Clipper proves that a safer option does not have to cost significantly more. The idea that you must spend extra money to get cleaner tea simply does not hold true here. Clipper Teas is available at Whole Foods, Sprouts, and through major online retailers across the United States. After reviewing 10 popular tea brands from every price range, every wellness claim, and every brand story, one pattern became impossible to ignore. Pesticide residues were repeatedly found in the tea leaves. Epichlorohydrin appeared in the paper tea bags used by many well-known brands. And none of those companies were legally required to disclose that information on their packaging. Some brands changed ownership while continuing to market the same founding story. Others promoted wellness products that later became the subject of recalls or legal action. Fortunately, not every company followed that path. Pukka Herbs, Traditional Medicinals, Numi Organic Tea, Rishi Tea and Botanicals, and Clipper Teas all provided stronger documentation, cleaner tea bag materials, and greater transparency than the brands we discussed earlier. Before you make your next cup of tea, take a moment to look at the box sitting in your kitchen. Knowing what is inside your tea is just as important as knowing what is inside the food you eat. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who drinks tea every day. You may help them make a more informed choice the next time they go shopping. Thank you for watching Golden Menu, and we will see you in the next video.